Good day, everyone. I am Lizelle Junita Asiri.
And I'm Karen Joy N. Monterrubio from Bachelor of Elementary Education, Second Year College.
And today, we are going to discuss an interesting topic. It's all about the facts and figure of the Philippines.
Minsa'y natuwa ang may likha.
The facts and figures of the Philippines. We all know that there are interesting, unusual, and fun facts about the Philippines. Many people are not aware that there are a lot of funny things deeply ingrained in the Filipino culture. Filipinos have a good sense of humor, so much so that they very well know how to laugh at themselves. The Philippines are also known for a number of other things: friendly, locals, delicious foods, amazing nightlife, and much more. In this article, we are going to tell you facts about Philippine culture that you probably not know about it. It's more fun in the Philippines. The Philippines may have experienced a lot of political unrest, poverty, calamities, and natural disaster, but still the country remains to be resilient because of the nature of Filipinos being warm, hospitable, and innately friendly. It is never too hard for them to pick themselves up and be able to rebuild what damaged. With all this comes a great leader who believed that the next tiger in the Asia is Philippines. The country is home to communities of expats from different parts of the world. Produce and product from different countries can now be enjoyed in the Philippines. There are affordable, delicious foods to enjoy, fresh seafoods in everywhere, a pleasant weather to enjoy the sun, and occasional rains, a beautiful landscape to adore, abundant coastlines, lagoons, and mountain trails to explore. And not to mention the world-class beaches and destination to discover. Befriending a friendly local won't be hard because you will surely be treated with a smile by anyone you meet. Better start exploring the Philippines today and tomorrow. We will surely see you enjoying a new home in one of its cities. The Philippines, the country's got it all for you to enjoy the beauty of it all.
Since it is more fun in the Philippines, as well as inside the beloved prison, they are still showing how grateful they are through dance performance which the inmates do to inspire others that they committed crimes. They are still willing and hoping to change for the better and to put smiles on the faces of the Filipino people. The Philippine tarsier is seen in the natural habitat in Tagbiliran, Bohol, Philippines. The Philippine tarsier is a tiny animal measuring about 4 to 6 inches or 10.16 to 15.24 centimeter in height. The small size make it difficult to spot. The average mass for male is around 134 grams and for females around 117 grams. The average adult is about the size of a human first and will fit very comfortably in the human hand like all tarsiers. The Philippine tarsiers' eyes are fixed in its skull. They cannot turn in their sockets. Instead, a special adaptation in the neck allows its round head to be rotated 180 degrees. The large membranous ears are mobile, appearing to be almost constantly moving, allowing the tarsiers to hear any movement. It has uniquely large eyes or disproportionate to its head and body, which are listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest eye on any mammals. These huge eyes provide this nocturnal animal with excellent night vision. The Philippine tarsier has thick and silky fur with its color gray and gray to dark brown. The thin tail usually used for balance is naked or bald except for a tuft of hair at the end, and it's about twice the body length. Its elongated tarsus or ankle bones, which give the tarsier its name, allows it to jump at least 3 meters from tree to tree without having to touch the ground. Its long digits are tipped with rounded pads that allows to cling easily to trees and to grip almost any surface. The thumb is not truly opposable, but the first toe is. All of the digits have flattened nails, except for the second and third toes, which have sharp claws specialized for grooming.
Bayanihan is another one fox in the Philippines. Bayanihan is derived from the word bayan, which means town, community, or country. Bayanihan literally means being in the community. Bayanihan culture derives from the meaning being helpful in the community, being one of those people who are working together to achieve a certain goal. In the Philippines, the Bayanihan culture that we inherited from the previous generation is what most Filipinos have wherever we go in the world. We really have that attitude of giving help. When we see someone in need, we help without being asked. We don't hesitate to offer our help, our free time to do such things. We are proud that we have that kind of culture. The next one is public transportation. Public transportation more fun in the Philippines. Like a jeepney. A jeepney is a means of public transportation and it's very popular in the Philippines since it has become its abundant symbol. It is known because of its crowded seating and poor taste of design. The word jeepney comes from the combination of the words jeep and knee because of the crowd seating, which means that people who ride jeepneys will encounter a very tight space between each other. Jeepneys is usually for public use, but some are used as a personal, and it will show a sign that says for private or family use. Philippines destination. The Philippines is rich in natural wonder for its tourist spots, with over 7,000 islands and islets. Joining islands hopping tour is one of the best things you can do here to see as many of these famous islands in the Philippines, including the best islands of Philippines. The Philippines is derived into 3 geographical islands regions. It is the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Many popular island destinations can be found in Visayas, like Cebu, Bohol, and Boracay, but there are also some in Luzon, including Palawan. Meanwhile, Mindanao emerging top islands destination is Siargao. The next one is Philippine flag. The flags in the country's most cherished symbol. It is the nation emblem for freedom. It symbolizes patriotism, love of country, and sense of nationhood, and embodies the aspiration and sentiments of the Filipino people in their increasing quest for independence. The Philippine flag color has symbolized the white triangle stands for equality and fraternity, the blue field for peace, truth, and justice, and the red field for patriotism and valor. And the 8 rays of the sun stand for the 8 provinces that the colonizers put under martial law, and also the 3 stars symbolize Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And next one, there are now 7,641 islands in the Philippines, the 7th highest number of islands in the world. The official count is 7,641, which make it among the largest archipelago on the planet. There used to be 7,107, but an additional 534 islands were added in 2017. On 2,000 of these islands are inhabited. More than 5,000 islands of the archipelago. And for the next is the NAMRIA. NAMRIA means National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. NAMRIA is mandated to provide the public with map-making services and to act as the central mapping agency, depository, and distribution facility for natural resources data in form of maps, charts, text, and statistics. The National Mapping and Resources Information Authority or NAMRIA surveys and maps the island and water resources of the Philippines. One of NAMRIA's major mandates is to provide both the public and private sector with the map-making service as well as geographic and resource information. The Philippines National Mapping and Resources Information Authority, abbreviated as NAMRIA, is an agency of the Philippine government under Department of Environment and Natural Resources responsible. And now, the countries that has most number of islands in the world when it comes to statistics regarding which countries have the most island figure tend to differ hugely between sources websites. worlddata.com claims that out of all countries on the planet, Sweden has the most island with 221,800, the majority of which are uninhabited. Even the capital of Stockholm is built across a 14 islands archipelago with more than 50 bridges. And now, here we are in the countries with the most island. The website the Finnish tourism body as saying Finland has about 188,000 islands, placing it second on the list. Norway rounds off the top 3 with 55,000 statistics. Canada claims the Canada has 52,455 islands, placing in the fourth by a considerable distance. Baffin Islands in the territory of Nunavut is the largest of them, and it covers 195,928 square miles. Here are the 8 major dialects spoken by majority of the Filipinos. Filipino, the standardized form of Tagalog, is the national languages and used in formal education throughout the country. Filipino and English are both official language, and English is commonly used by the government. Filipino Sign Language is the official sign language. Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon or Ilonggo, Bicolano, Waray, Pampango, and Pangasinense. The Philippines was the first country in Southeast Asia to gain independence after World War II in the Philippines in 1946. The Philippines became the first of world colonies to achieve independence. Following World War II, the United States granted the Philippines independence in 1946 on the anniversary of its own Declaration of Independence. After the Philippines achieved independence and constructed a democratic government, they had a wealthy, elite-controlled politics and government. The biggest pair of shoe in the Philippines. The world's biggest pair of shoe was made in Marikina City, Philippines in 2002. Marikina, record-breaking loafers built in Marikina, the capital of shoe production in the Philippines, and the house of Imelda Marcos shoe collection. The massive footwear was certified by Guinness in 2002. The occasion took a whopping 77 days to finish and cost over 2 million Philippine pesos. The city of Marikina is considered one of the wealthiest local government units in the Philippines. Marikina is known as the shoe capital of the Philippines for its famous shoe industry. It is the biggest manufacturer of shoes in the Philippines, producing almost 70% of shoes made in the country. The Philippines are named after King Philip II of Spain. Explorer Ruy Lopez de Villalobos named the Eastern Visayas Filipinas first. The name was later applied to the entire archipelago. The country's official name is the Republic of the Philippines. So in these figures, the Philippines are named after King Philip II in 1527 to 1598 of Spain. The country was discovered by the Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. While in Spanish service, later tension arose between Portugal. Spain reclaimed the islands for themselves, naming them after it then king. And now, here we are of the top 10 largest shopping malls in the world. There are found in the Philippines, SM Mega Mall, SM North EDSA, and SM Mall of Asia. SM Mega Mall is the second largest shopping mall in the Philippines, and the ninth largest in the world that is developed and operated by SM Prime Holdings. It is located in Ortigas Center, Mandaluyong, Philippines. The mall occupies a land area of approximately and has a total floor area of the mall has a maximum capital of 4 million people. SM North EDSA, in the largest shopping mall in the Philippines and the third largest shopping mall in the world, having a gross floor area of 460,000 square meters. It is located the intersection of North Avenue and Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, which means EDSA in Quezon City. And for the last, the Mall of Asia. SM Mall of Asia, also known for its abbreviation SM MOA, is one of the largest shopping malls in the metro, located at the Bay City in Pasay. The world's largest pearl was discovered by a Filipino diver in the Palawan Sea in 1934, which we call the Pearl of Lao Tse. The Pearl of Lao Tzu, or also referred as a Pearl of Lao Tse, was once considered the largest known pearl. The pearl was found in the Palawan Sea, which surrounds the island of Palawan in the Philippines, and was found by a Filipino diver. Legend says the diver drowned retrieving the pearl. Trapped in a giant tridacna clam, his body was brought to the surface by his fellow tribesmen in Palawan, a province of Philippines, in May 1934. When the clam was pried open and the meat scraped out, the locust chief beheld something marvelous. A massive pearl, its sheen like satin. In its surface, the thief discerned the face of the Prophet Muhammad. He named it the Pearl of Allah. At 14 pounds, 1 ounce, it was legend pearl ever. The Philippines is the world's largest exporter of coconut tropical fruits such as papaya and mangosteen. Fun fact, the Philippines is one of the world's largest producer of coconuts, mangosteens, and papayas, and bananas can also be found there. Another facts of the Philippines. The Philippines is the only majority Christian nation in Asia. 80% of its population identifies as Roman Catholic. The Philippines has a population of more than 100 million people, which make in the 12th most populous country in the world. Total population of the Philippines 2018, 105.1 million. Ranked as the 13th most populated country in the world in 2018.
What is the slogan of DOT? The Department of Tourism slogan, "It's more fun in the Philippines," is here to stay well at least until the end of the current administration. Other countries have had their slogans for decades, even if their presidents and tourism secretaries change. We are the only ones who keep on changing it. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said her key reason for retaining the catchy slogan was continuity, recalling that even her predecessor Wanda Teo adopted it when she assumed the tourism portfolio in the first year of the Duterte administration. The slogan, which reflects Wow Philippines, has been running since 2012. Established in 1973, the Department of Tourism, or DOT, is the Philippines Executive Office responsible for the regulation and promotion of the Philippines tourism industry. DOT's mission is to encourage, promote, and develop tourism as a major socio-economic activity to generate foreign currency and local employment, ultimately spreading the benefits of tourism to both the private and public sector. DOT is led by the Office of the Tourism Secretary. The Office of Secretary formulates policies, plans, programs, rules, and regulations. The office also reviews and evaluates the performance of the Tourism Master Plan and advises the President on all matters affecting the tourism program of the country and the advancement of the Philippines as a premier tourist destination for all travelers and tourists. Who is the current DOT Secretary? Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat is a product of the University of the Philippines, where she graduated cum laude with her bachelor's degree in economics. She also pursued her master's degree in economics at the same institution. From 1994 to 2006, she was a lecturer at her alma mater. She served as an economic consultant to the Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council from 2001 to 2002 and to the Presidential Management Staff from 2005 to 2006. Furthermore, she served as Deputy Cabinet Secretary at the Office of the President in 2006. In 2007, she was appointed Undersecretary at the Department of Agriculture, where she handled special concerns, administration and finance, and agribusiness and marketing. Additionally, she headed various teams and committees on rural credit, trade and investment assistance, international cooperation, organic agriculture, and gender and development. In May 2018, she was appointed Secretary of the Department of Tourism. Her focus is on sustainable tourism, increasing investment in the sector, enhancing programs for tourism infrastructure, as well as product and market development.
And here are the Philippine major historical events. Philippine major historical events. Ancestors of the Negritos, the first inhabitants of Philippines, settled on the islands on 30,000 BC. Austronesians reached the islands on outrigger canoes on 3000. The AD 8 to 1377, the Hindu-Malay Empire based in Sumatra lost most of the Philippines. In 1250, the Datus from Borneo arrived in the Philippines. The events in 1402, the Chinese established trading posts on Luzon Islands. And in 1450, Muslim missionaries arrived in Sulu. Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan reached Cebu Islands and lands at Samar in 1521. Then in 1543, Ruy Lopez de Villabos names the Eastern Visayas Filipinas in honor of the future King Philip II of Spain, and the name is later applied to the entire archipelago. And then, in 1565, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi establishes a Spanish colony on the island of Cebu. Legazpi found Manila in 1571. In 1593, Doctrina Christiana is the first book published in the Philippines. In 1595, Manila is declared the official capital city. Dominican friars established the University of Santo Tomas in Manila in 1611. And then in 1762, the British occupy Manila after the Spanish defeat the 7 years. So next is in 1796, first American trading ships visit the Philippines. And in 1800, Governor Jose Bascoy Vargas introduced sugarcane and tobacco as cash crops. On the 1811, Philippines' first newspaper, Del Superior Gobierno, is published. In Manila is opened to world trade and foreign investment in 1834. By the 1872, Cavite conspiracy happens. Jose Rizal, a Filipino national hero, leads the propaganda movement. And in 1892, Rizal founds La Liga Filipina, first railroad in the Philippines opens. So for the next Spanish regime. In 1895, Jose Rizal was sentenced to death for sedition, rebellion, and treason. And by the 1896, Rizal was executed at Bagumbayan, now Luneta Park, at exactly 7:03 a.m. Manila time. So, by the Philippine Declaration of Independence from Spain was done at Emilio Aguinaldo's house in Kawit. Aguinaldo was elected first president in 1898. So next, American regime and Philippine Commonwealth. In 1901, William H. Taft became the first U.S. governor of the Philippines. Philippine Constitution was promulgated and Manuel Quezon was elected President of the Commonwealth of the Philippines in 1935. So, for the Japanese occupation and liberation, after the Pearl Harbor bombing, Japanese forces invaded the country in 1941. By 1942, fall of Bataan Death March, where 36,000 U.S. and Filipino soldiers were forced to march without food and water. Prisoners of war were killed by guards. Survivors were taken to a concentration camp in Capas. By 1945, U.S. forces entered Manila, sparked the Battle of Manila, leaving Japan to surrender. So, in 1946, the Philippines was liberated. So, in post-war period, Ramon Magsaysay, man of the masses, was elected to the presidency in 1953. In 1957, Ramon Magsaysay died in a plane crash in Mount Manungal. And for the pre- and post-martial law, Ferdinand Marcos was elected, winning over incumbent President Diosdado Macapagal in 1965. Marcos re-elected to a second term in 1969. Due to the uprisings and unrest, Marcos declared proclamations 1081, placing the whole country into martial law in the date of 1972. By the date in 1977, referendum gave Marcos absolute power as the President and Prime Minister of the Philippines. Martial law lived due to a 3-day papal visit. Next is in 1983, opposition leader San Benigno Aquino Jr. was assassinated while disembarking in 1983. Aquino's widow Corazon challenged Marcos to snap election. Comelec's tally indicated Marcos' re-election, while independent election body NAMFREL indicated Aquino's victory in 1986. February 1986, peaceful rallies and demonstrations led to ousting of Marcos and his family, thereby the first country to use peaceful movements to oust the political leader. Aquino was sworn in as the first female president of the Philippines.
Next is contemporary era. 1992, Marcos' former cabinet member Fidel V. Ramos succeeded Aquino as the president. 1997, Asian financial crisis brought downfall on the Philippine economy. 1998, Joseph Estrada became the next president, declaring an all-out war against the MILF. 2000, impeachment proceedings against President Estrada were suspended, sparking mass protests at EDSA. The last 2001, Estrada stepped down and his Vice President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was sworn in. 2004, Arroyo won her first full term as president. 2010, Benigno Simeon C. Aquino III was elected president. And 2016, Rodrigo R. Duterte was sworn in.
Minsa'y natuwa ang may likha, 7,000 pulo ang ginawa.